Well, good afternoon, friends. It's the 3rd of February, and I'm going to give you another State of the Church update and fill you in on some of what's going on in the life of our congregation right now. For those of you who are keeping track, this is the 11th monthly State of the Church update that I've recorded. The first one was way back in April of 2020, right after we had to stop meeting together all together as a church. The idea behind these updates then and now is to communicate regularly and to help us all stay on the same page, even as we aren't seeing one another as often as we're accustomed to. The feedback that I've received is that these videos have been helpful, and so I'm going to continue with them for now, maybe even indefinitely if they're helpful. We'll see. By the way, if you're watching this video and you'd like to get the updates that we send out about what's happening in the church right now, updates about meetings, changes of time, location, prayer requests, daily devotions written by church members, any of that, you can sign up for our email list on our website. I'm going to include a link in the notes on this video where you can go and be added to that list. Now, as for what's going on at Grace Church here at the beginning of February, in the year 2021, we're trying to get moving with as much ministry and life together as we reasonably can, given the circumstances. The COVID-related regulations in our area are the same as they have been. There is a limit on 10-person social gatherings and all gatherings requiring masks and social distancing. Our governor has continued those orders at least through the end of February. The actual situation with COVID in our area looks like sort of a mixed bag right now. The numbers of new infections and the testing positivity rates are falling in our area. Vaccines are beginning to be accessible, but there are also new COVID variants showing up that we're hearing about all the time. And the vaccine rollout here in Virginia seems to be going relatively slowly. The bottom line is we still aren't able to resume normal life as a church like we're accustomed to, not yet. But we are going to be moving forward with what we can do and make the most of what's available to us right now. And truth be told, we're able to do a lot. We just held our first COVID wedding last week, and it was successful. Congratulations to David and Carly Cunningham. And there are more weddings on the horizon in our church family. Our youth group has started meeting again on Wednesdays. They're playing games. They're doing Bible study together. There are various small groups and Bible studies meeting right now throughout the week, including our Wednesday women's Bible study with Mary Carroll. They're meeting on Zoom. There are men's reading and discussion groups meeting every other Saturday morning as they go through a J.I. Packer book together. And we're resuming our Thursday night Hebrews Bible study this week, tomorrow. If you've got questions about any of what's available right now or how to get involved in any of these studies or groups, what's going on at Grace Church, you can contact Pastor Bruce through the church office for more information. And as our schedule fills back up a little bit, Mr. Knuff is going to start sending out weekly emails from the church office with a list of events and meetings for the coming week. You can also go online and look at our church calendar anytime. It's available through the Church Center app, and you can also go through the website. You go to gcrva.churchcenter.com, and you'll find several resources there, including online giving, access to groups, and also under the More tab, you're going to find a link to the church calendar. And there you can see all the upcoming events. You can see what's happening on a certain day. You can even look at details for a specific event. And we're going to do our best to keep this calendar updated. And let us know, please, if you'd like to see anything added to it that we've missed. This is a public calendar that anybody's got access to. As for our Sunday services, our plan is to stay the course that we're on for now, with 2 services on Sunday mornings, 1 indoors, 1 outdoors, as often as weather permits. Now, for the next few weeks, it looks like meeting outdoors is going to be touch and go. It's going to be very cold. We might even have another snow day or two when we can't meet in person at all. Thankfully, we're all, I think, pretty flexible at this point, and worship at home isn't as unfamiliar as it once was. We're able to provide resources for you as a church on pretty short notice, and we can also meet for prayer on Zoom no matter what the weather's doing. Hopefully, though, after a few more weeks of winter, we're going to see the weather change and we can start meeting outdoors regularly again. We're also planning to restart children's ministry in person outdoors as soon as it's warm enough. Until then, we're going to continue providing videos for you to use at home. Pastor Bruce is going to do a series of drawing through the Bible videos. And Catechism Clarence and Mr. Monkeybottom are going to continue with the New City Catechism. I actually saw Clarence in the building earlier this week, and it looks like they're already working on the next video. So that should be available sometime soon. Also, in addition to all of this public ministry, I want you to know that there is plenty going on behind the scenes right now at Grace Church. The elders and the deacons continue to meet regularly to pray and to talk through care for the congregation. George has begun his sabbatical from the session, and Jeremy is back in the saddle, and the elders met last Saturday to refresh and organize our elder care lists and make plans for shepherding here in the future. The missions and education committees also both met in January, beginning to meet again, and are working on what's next in those areas of our church life together. So all things considered, even though we're not out of the COVID woods yet, things are happening, and we're moving slowly and carefully, but we're moving. God has given us much grace over the past year, and He's blessed our efforts to be both faithful and not to become a hot spot for people getting sick, and we trust Him to continue helping us in that way. We want to make sure that the plans that we're making will be flexible enough to endure some unexpected changes, as there surely will be unexpected changes, but that whatever happens next, we can carry on with the ministry of the Word and prayer, and we can be an active and vital community of Christians gathering here at Grace Church. Now, with that being said, let me end with a word of pastoral exhortation today. And friends, let me encourage you to be careful that we don't forget our responsibility to care for one another as Christian brothers and sisters right now. COVID hasn't gone away, but life goes on. And the individual lives of brothers and sisters in the church are going on, all of us. People are getting married. People are moving. People are changing jobs. People are going through sickness and trial and loss. Life is going on. And there are joys and sorrows in the family here at Grace Church at any given time. Remember, friends, that the Scriptures tell us to be part of each other's lives in a meaningful way. They tell us to, as Paul puts it in Philippians 1, to be standing firm in one spirit with one mind, striving side by side for the faith of the gospel. As Hebrews 3 puts it, to exhort one another every day, as long as it's called today, that none of you may be hardened by the deceitfulness of sin. Or as Romans 12 puts it, to rejoice with those who rejoice, to weep with those who weep. Now, we still can't get everyone under the same roof and stand shoulder to shoulder and sing our hearts out yet. That'll be coming soon. But even right now, we can reach out to one another. We can be a blessing to one another, can't we? There are ways that many of us can get together with a brother or sister in the church and do it safely and in full compliance with all the guidelines and restrictions that we're under. But we can all pick up the phone and call somebody or text or send an email. We all have the ability to make contact with brothers and sisters in the church and listen to them and to encourage them and check on their souls. So I want to ask you, I want to challenge you as a church family, maybe in the month of February. Take a few minutes once a week and reach out to somebody else in the congregation that you haven't spoken with recently. See if you can get together with them for a cup of coffee, maybe, or at least call them or email them. Ask them how they're doing. Ask them, what's been good in your life recently? What's been hard recently? How can I be praying for you? It may not seem like much, but simple communication, regular conversations like that, that's an important part of being a family together especially in times like these. Soon enough, all of these restrictions and limitations are going to be gone, and nothing is going to prevent us from enjoying community life together and getting together as often as we want. But until then, let's be careful that we don't become strangers to one another. Let's be careful that we continue exhorting one another and encouraging one another and comforting one another and building up and rejoicing with one another, grieving with one another. Let's work at being a blessing to one another and striving side by side for the faith of the gospel. As always, it's my pleasure to be your pastor and to be with you here at Grace Church. Thank you.